in this next half hour or so, we're going to talk about course scheduling. In Banner itself, there are really 2 pages or parts or forms of Banner that you're going to use when you make an edit to a course section offering. So the first one, again, if we type it in here, it's going to be under the following acronym, and I start it. So this is going to be schedule. So if you type schedule, this will pop up. And for the acronym, it's SSASECT or SSASECT. Sometimes it's going to give you more than one because a lot of Banner pages can connect with one another. But to make it easier, I would recommend really learning the acronyms. Don't worry, it takes time. It's all good. So this is the first one that you're going to use. This one is going to have the instructor and the meeting times, things of that nature. And the second one, just so you're prepared now, and we'll still go to it, is going to be what I call SAS syllabus. So it's SSAS, another S, YLB. And I start it here as well, just like what we showed before. SSAS YLB section syllabus. And this really shows the title for that section offering that students will be able to see in SSB or self-service Banner when they're registering courses, things of that nature. And you should be able to see that too in that way, okay? So let's get started. So let's say you have to make some changes to a section offering, right? I think the majority of what you might be facing is going to be probably time changes, maybe instructors, things of that nature. Then again, I'm not in your position, so I don't really know what that will totally look like for you, but that's my guess. So when you type in SSASECT, it's the same thing here. You want to put in the year and the term in that order, no spaces. And like we talked about too, if you click the 3 dots, you can do list of terms or view existing sections. If you just want to know the term, you could just click this and it will show you just like what we did before, okay? And it'll show you and it'll be easier to navigate for you. Now, at this point, you should have your list of CRNs, okay? Or call numbers per se. In AIS speak, but in Banner, it's CRN. So we're going to use the same course that we had before. So if we just type in the CRN and then click, well, press tab, all of this will self-populate. So Chem, 420, Inorganic Chemistry. Disregard the Create CRN and the Copy CRN. You won't be needing those for this because the section's already built for you. So at this point, you'd click Go. So as you can tell, this is a far more comprehensive screen. And again, very general overview for today, okay? Very, very general. So if you're thinking of specific scenarios that might come up, I would really recommend writing them down for our next session that we're gonna have next week, okay? And I'll get into details about that in a little bit. So in SSASECT, you're going to have 3 main tabs. The first one is going to be course section information, and this is a very broad overview of that course. So as you can tell on this side, you're seeing the subject, the course number, the title, and the section number. If you see a 001 here, just like you see an MP, that means that is an on-campus RI course. So in AIS, RI, right? Banner, it's going to be MP. And for section, so you know it's going to be 001. If you see anything with an E here, or if you see NPC, that's going to be extended studies for campus, okay? Now, as you go through, status is pretty self-explanatory. That just means the section is active, it's offered. You see more information here with the type of course that it is, your grade mode. And this I want to point out, instructor approval. We talked about this before. In AIS, it was permit. In Banner, it's instructor approval or IN. So this is how you'd put them in right here in this area, okay? Again, broad overview today. The next section here is just letting you know the part of term that it's in. So this is really informational only because this is already built for you. And then last but not least, just more information. So credit hours, things of that nature. Again, you wouldn't want to mess with these. These are just informational only. It's really important, and I cannot stress this enough. So consider this in bright, capital, red letters underlined. Please do not click anything under these indicators, okay? Especially the tuition fee waiver. Don't even, it's really pretty to look at, you just don't want to touch. That's the rule of thumb. So this is the first part. Very simple, already built for you. The second one is section enrollment. So this has already been built for you, but so you're aware, this is where you would put in if an enrollment changes from like 24 to 30, something along those lines. But every single course will have a waitlist maximum of 10. Now, while we're on this screen, it's important to note, in AIS, if you have a permit-only course, typically the enrollment would be 0, right? In Banner, that does not work that way. Banner can't have a course set at 0. So in that circumstance, we would have the IN, but here, if it's going to be, again, in AIS 0, it's going to be 16 for the maximum unless you change that, okay? But it can't be 0. And then again, the maximum will be same for every offering, 10. Now, you can probably see this here. In this example of a section offering, this shows that 2 students are actually fully enrolled. They're in this course registered. And the remaining just lets you know, okay, of the 24 total, there are 22 open spots left, but 2 of them have been taken. Going back here, when you see these grayed out screens, you can't change them. Like we can't change them. Cannot change schedule type when meeting times exist, okay? Really, that's what it'll look like for warnings, but it's basically saying you have students enrolled, you can't change it. If you see anything white, that's something that you're able to go in and alter, but again, this is just view already at this point. So we talked about the section enrollment information. Don't worry about reserved seats, okay? Just enrollment details. And last but not least is meeting times and instructor. This is where the changes that you're going to have primarily, like meeting times, locations, instructors. This is where it's going to take place. So this tab, you probably want to say hello to, because this will be one of your new best friends in Banner probably. As you can see, Banner has a tiered tab process. So the first tab is meeting times and instructor. Then you have times and instructors. So we're not focusing on schedule preferences. Disregard that. And then you have meeting dates. So let's say you are going to change this time. Well, as some of you have might seen in my emails, the meeting times that we have for Fall 21 are approved meeting times by the university. So those times have codes with them. You should have access to an Excel spreadsheet for them. Or let's say, oh no, I totally forgot my spreadsheet. What do I do? I'm going to show you. If you press these 3 dots and you're changing a time, all these codes will appear. As you can tell, we have quite a few codes. So you will need to go through, and like before, you can navigate, and if you want 40 for a page instead of just the 20, it'll automatically do it. And you'll have to see, okay, I want Monday, Wednesday, 11:15 to 12:35. Oh, it's an approved time. Wonderful. If we click it, it's AL, click select, and it populates for you. Simple as that. It automatically changes, and you're good to go. And then you can click save if that's the one that you wanted. Now, here's a good warning, right? If you make this change while students are enrolled, then it would basically be up to you to let the students know, hey, the time's going to change. But it just likes to give that warning. But here's another one that we can come across, right? So as the schedule gets worked out, because we're in March, right? We're not yet in fall. So you're probably still working through these different changes. This is letting you know, hey, just a heads up, if we go to meeting location and credits, there's a room scheduled. So that warning is saying, hey, there's already a class taking place at that time in that location. You can put in an O here while you're working on getting it resolved and press save, and then it's going to give you another warning. It might. In this circumstance, it's saying, hey, looks like Matthew Cranswick has been scheduled for another course teaching at the same exact time. And this is where they'll probably ask for an override as well. Majority of the time, as things start to get, for lack of better phrasing, cleaned up, you should see and have the need for less and less of these overrides because we really do want to avoid them. Why? When you see an O, that means there's a conflict somewhere in the schedule, and Banner likes to let us know. So in this case, in order for us to do this, it won't let us without it. You would click that override indicator because it won't let you do it without it. You have to click OK and then click the override. It won't let you do it. That's what will happen. You'll get the green box and it'll be good. But again, this is that circumstance when you have access. If you see these O's, so if we go back to meeting location and credits, and you see an O over override indicator, and you see this checked mark for an instructor, that should be a warning light for you to say, okay, there's a conflict somewhere. We got to figure this out. Alrighty? And then once that's figured out, you will need to go back in and uncheck the override indicator and uncheck this override indicator, depending on where they are. Now, it might just be that you have an override for the meeting location and the time. You don't have to have both, if that makes sense. So you can just have a conflict for just the meeting time and location, but not the instructor, or vice versa. Maybe it's the instructor with the scheduling, but then the meeting time and location is good to go. So you just really want to pay attention to that. Banner likes to give us a bright red warning. Going back, if you were to change a time, that's how you would do it. Okay? Now, if you're changing a location, this is the fun part. So let's say we want a different room. We don't want 221. We're like, you know what? No, we're good. We don't want 221. What you can do is if you tab over, tab is going to be huge for you, and you still want to be in chemistry, but you just want a different room. If you backspace and delete that and click the 3 dots here, you're going to be taken to another part of Banner. I know there are many parts. And this one is SLQ room or room query. And you type in chemistry again or click the 3 dots and it will show you as well what buildings are available. Okay, so like chemistry here. Click OK. And if you click go, it will show you this whole list of all the rooms in that building. Alrighty? Just know that O is for office and C is for class. For this, of course, when you schedule, you want a classroom. Let's decide we want Chem 104. We'll click select. And we should be good, hopefully, without the override indicator because we're changing. And just tab over it and click save. Of course, you're always going to get that warning because you're making changes when students are enrolled. Oh, well, it looks like there's another conflict for this one. So you're just going to want to keep an eye out for those. So if you're looking for available rooms, so there is a part in Banner where it's another query like what we just did, where it shows the room, but it will show available times for a room in that time period. So yes, there is a way to do it. And as for access, I believe that is a work in progress. So you could type in that and save. Again, it's going to give you the same thing with students registered. And again, just keep an eye out for that.